You've tuned in to I Am Not a Number Live, the review show with Cardinal Sin
and friends,
where we review a different episode of The Prisoner starring Patrick McGoohan. Each week, we discuss a different episode and its implications then and now. Follow along and make sure to catch the episode in our viewing order so you can be ready to ask questions and participate in the chat. New episodes premiere each week on Wednesdays from 3 to 5 Central. The show's surreal and political implications on the reduction of the individual to a number have an even more insidious impact today, as all of our information, phone calls, texts, likes, photos, and other data are harvested to be sold and turn us into product rather than consumers. Get ready for a deep dive into one of the most important shows to have an impact on pop culture and society ever. And remember, I am not a number. Greetings, followers. It is I, Cardinal Sin, and I have with me Rick the Unmutual. How are you, Rick?
I'm very well, thank you. And hello to everyone watching and listening. And that joined us for the Danger Man episode. Great fun.
Yeah, that was really interesting, especially all the things that I didn't remember from the first time I saw Colony 3. I realized that it was a prototype for The Prisoner, but it took watching all the episodes of The Prisoner to realize just how much it was, the correlations were unbelievable.
Yeah, there's so many references, isn't there, as you go through, especially in hindsight, of course, because we've just watched The Prisoner all the way through. So many bits and pieces in Colony 3 that you can say, well, that's in The Prisoner, and that's in The Prisoner, and that's in The Prisoner. It's great.
Yeah. It was pretty interesting.
And as you say, a bit like The Prisoner, really, the more times you watch it, the more things you notice.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see who we have here. Ari is here. Darius Munchausen is here. Yvonne is here. Michael Beacom is here. And that, I think, does it for now. So let's talk a little bit about Danger Man. And a little bit about Colony 3 and the other episode whose name I do not recall at the moment that is on the Danger Man or the Prisoner Blu-ray box set.
View from the Villa.
And this was in Port Marion?
Correct, yeah. So, yes, it was the first half-hour episode, so 1959, and 6 episodes that are set in Port Marion, doubling for various places around the world. But that's the one where the most footage of Port Marion takes place. Doubling as a place.
That was the first episode of Danger Man?
It was, correct, yeah.
Wow.
Patrick has always said the first time he saw the place, it kind of a little light bulb went off in his mind.
Did they include it because it was in Port Marion, or because, or also because it had correlations to The Prisoner? Like
no, it was just the Port Marion connection. They could have really chosen any of the 6 episodes where Port Marion features, but this is the first one, and probably the one that's most famous for featuring Port Marion. They included. There's no prisonery overtones in that episode at all. It's a very sort of straightforward, catch me if you can spy thriller episode, really. But looks great in HD. Yeah.
Michael Beacom brings up an interesting point. Everything starts somewhere. I'll never forget showing my Roddenberry worshipping Trek friends Forbidden Planet and pointing out how much was lifted when they insisted Gene came up with it all. Forbidden Planet is pretty much the prototype for Star Trek. Except they didn't use a rocket. They had a ship. Have you seen Forbidden Planet, Rick?
I have, yeah. It's a great movie, and I can see the correlations there as well. And I can totally understand when people say so much of Colony 3 must have stuck in Patrick's mind. Absolutely. There was so many ideas there. I mean, there's a great scene, isn't there, where he's kind of only in an office, but he's kind of given the tour, isn't he, in the same way that he's given the helicopter tour in the village. Everything you want is here kind of speech.
And it's so different from other episodes of Danger Man. What season was this in? Do you remember?
So this would be the basically the Danger Man. You can pretty much split up into two sections. There were the half-hour episodes, which are 1959 and 1960, and then 1964 to 66 was this the hour-long episodes, and this obviously forms part of that. I think it's series 3, early series 3, so 1965, I think. That's from memory. Please don't shout at me, Danger Man aficionados out there, for not having the exact date to hand. I'm sure it's 65.
I was just going to have a quick look here.
Of course, as you pointed out in the while we were watching along, same director that started on The Prisoner, Don Chaffee, one of those directors that Patrick, really wanted to take over into The Prisoner.
So in my box set, it's on disc 9, but I don't know if that means it's in the last season or not. Let me keep checking here. These sets love to drop discs.
Well, it's about 400 discs in that.
It seems like it, yeah.
It's, when you turn over the plastic sheets with the discs on, it's like reading a book, which is a compliment because it's great to have everything in one set.
Well, and I really like the way that they package it because it's not the kind of packaging that makes people damage the discs just by getting them out of the box.
Well, it's also great for space saving. I mean, you sound like a fairly young man, but I reckon you're of a similar era to me when we used to have to buy VHS tapes of these things, and there would be 2 episodes per tape. It's very much when CIC started bringing out the Star Trek in kind of the late 80s. I was buying two episodes of tape to get that on your shelf. 48 tapes or 38 tapes, 39 tapes because there were 3 on the last tape. Plus, if you wanted the cages a separate, that was a separate tape. And the same with Danger Man. If they haven't done so, but if they'd ever released that 2 episodes of tape, you're giving a whole shelf away. Whereas buying this handy box set from Network, you've got it all in the same width as 2 VHS tapes.
Ari says season 1, episode 3 is where the Internet Movie Database has it.
Yeah, no, that can't be correct because there were 39 episodes of half-hour Danger Man 5 years before this was made. So, as usual, IMDb, I'm afraid, has got that completely wrong, as it often
unreliable.
Does.
Yeah. It's definitely a later episode.
Yeah, I can find out for you if you give me 2 minutes, Gil. I'll go and get my guide. Hang on.
Oh, Michael Begum. That's very interesting. Some of the VHS movies and TV shows that I can't get anywhere else, I still have on VHS.
Great, quite right too. Never throw away your videos if you haven't got unless you've upgraded to the DVD.
I've got some really rare videos that still haven't come out on disc, or rather, if they have, they don't have the same material. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean there'll be so many things where the rights are a real issue. Rights weren't so much of an issue especially in the early VHS days. Everything just kind of got released anyway, didn't it? But I think nowadays you have to have the clearances and the rights, and there's so many things that are stuck in rights hell. They'll probably never get a DVD release if you've got the VHS of that. And of course, things get changed. As you say, things get changed. I mean, if you've got the original Star Wars trilogy on VHS from the early 80s, they're never going to be released in that version ever again. You can only get them now on DVD if you want, all the super special effects that they've added in years later, which kind of aren't the same.
Actually, there's there's kind of a compromise. Are you familiar with Harmy's despecialized editions?
No, I'm not.
This is a fan effort to restore Star Wars to as close as possible to the original movie, in the theater version. And this guy, I guess, whose channel is called Harmy's, along with some of his professional and amateur friends, created a 1080p 5.1 surround sound version of all three films, and they started with a laser disc as the primary element, and then they painstakingly went through, frame by frame, and got everything as close to the original as they could. And now they have a 4K version. And these are all available from Harmy's website, which I think is harmys.com. And you don't have to buy it. You can't sell it. You can't change it. It's just available to download, and then you can burn it onto a DVD. And it looks amazing. I mean, I've seen Star Wars like 30 times. I think I saw it 26 times in the theater, and then probably 5 or 6 times since then. And when I watched the Harmy's despecialized version, it brought tears to my eyes. I mean, it was like seeing the film for, the second time. And in the beginning, when the Star Destroyer goes overhead, the 5.1 surround sound really makes it sound like it's going overhead. I mean, it's brilliant.
Fantastic.
So, what else can we say about Danger Man? And
well, I just found out that this was the 10th hour-long episode of Danger Man in production. So it was the 49th Danger Man episode to be produced. It was screened on Saturday, the 24th of October, 1964. So I did get the year right, at least. At least I can get a feather in my hat for that. I'm just trying to find out how many episodes aired before it, and I think it is the 3rd episode. So I think IMDb is right that it is episode 3. I guess you could call it season 2. So I think one of your readers there is correct. So your brother was correct in some senses, in that if you're counting the 8-hour-long episodes of Danger Man as a separate series, then it's the 3rd episode. So there was some truth in there, what was said earlier on. But I think what I love about this episode, and we said this at the beginning, it's really interesting to watch once you've watched The Prisoner. I mean, it would have been a great episode watching it anyway in 1964. It's a really good spy idea about, spy schools, which are very real and very real places. There were places in Scotland and all around the world where spies were taken to be trained, to be rested, to be retrained. And that inspired, partly inspired The Prisoner itself, of course. But it's great to watch this and pick out all the little bits that we kind of see in The Prisoner already. Someone somewhere should make a list of them, really. That would be great, wouldn't it? To see every little nuance and every little reference. I think the only negative about the episode, I would say, is that I think the last 10 minutes are slightly rushed. We get a great slow build-up. And then I think the kind of, the end of the episode is kind of over in a bit of a bang. I guess that's the problem with trying to fit everything into a 45, 50-minute show. But it's a good example. I really enjoy Colony 3. The other prisoner-y episode that people should check out is an episode called The Ubiquitous Mr Lovegrove, which is kind of quite surreal and dreamlike, and people will enjoy that if they like The Prisoner. But there's some really great what I call straight episodes. My favorite episode is actually called No Marks for Civility, where John Drake has to be sort of pretend to be a butler, and it's a great performance by Magoo, and he really shows what a good actor he was in playing John Drake. I'd love to hear what you thought of Colony 3, because I know you're not necessarily a massive. I've watched every episode of Danger Man 10 times like you have The Prisoner. What did you think, Cardinal Sin?
I was really interested in the fact that there were just so many correlations. Yeah. I mean, so let's back up a little bit. I was exposed to The Prisoner a long time ago when I used to go over to my friend Jeremy's house. We would watch an episode of The Prisoner, and then we'd watch a movie. And I think I missed an episode because... Is there an alternate second episode of The Prisoner?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, The Chimes of Big Ben has like an alternative version with different music, an additional scene, and some slightly different sort of dialogue and so on. Yeah.
So I didn't see that, but I saw the regular one, and I instantly liked it from the very first episode, and we watched all of it. And I was a teenager, I think, or early 20s, and then I saw the Danger Man. What they called the Secret Agent Mega Set, and I think I borrowed that from the library because I just have copies that I made, and so it's I watched every episode of Danger Man once, and including Colony 3, and when I saw Colony 3, I was like, hey, that's got to be the prototype for The Prisoner. And then, again, just like The Prisoner, it's been forever since I've seen those. Although it's been a lot more recent than The Prisoner, except for the rewatch, obviously. So the biggest takeaway that I have from it is it's completely unlike any other episode of Danger Man or Secret Agent, and B, the correlations to The Prisoner are so ubiquitous. I think the writers of the episode, the people involved, must have been really thinking about The Prisoner before this episode got written. But I love the episode. It's a great episode. I agree that the ending seems rushed. It really needed to be sort of a feature-length film to get everything in properly and build up to the climax and everything. But I really enjoy Secret Agent or Danger Man, and I'm really hopeful that Network will restore all of it. But I realize that's
well, they are working on it, and they have, they did announce a few years ago that they were planning on doing all the episodes. And I know they have done some.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's issues with the fact that some of the film prints aren't where they should be, and it's getting them shipped is very expensive, and obviously doing the restoration is very time consuming. So, if you think it takes, a few years to do 13 episodes of something and restore that, we're talking, how many episodes of Danger Man? 86, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the exact number, over 80 episodes. That is going to take a long time. It will happen, but I think we've all got to be very patient. What I'd love to hear from your listeners, Cardinal Sin, and yourself is, obviously, when we just watched the episode just then, we watched it with the English titles, with the Edwin Astley harpsichord theme music. Well, of course, people in America would have been more used to the show with the Johnny Rivers theme song. Do you still find it odd watching it with the English titles? Bearing in mind you would have been so used to the theme song.
With the English opening, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's the way that I've sort of come to view it.
Okay.
That's the theme music that I expect. Maybe because the box set that I have is from England.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen Secret Agent with the Johnny Rivers music, but
Okay.
like I said last week, it was a big influence on Devo, and Devo is a big influence on me. So
Yeah. I mean, I love the music. I love the music in the whole of Danger Man. I think it's got this great sort of film noir kind of feel to it, isn't it? Which I think works really well. It always works well in black and white, doesn't it? That type of music. But I think the music really, some 60s shows that you watch in black and white, the music can be a bit kind of flat and dated. But I don't get that with Danger Man.
no, it's very rewatchable.
Yeah.
Very rewatchable. I really do hope that network sees their way clear to restoring all the episodes. I realize what a huge amount of time and effort that takes. But I would think that it would be worth it because I'm pretty sure, if like when Shout Factory released the Danger Man 40th anniversary box set, by the time I found out about it, they were sold out. So I can't imagine they'd have any problem selling plenty of units of remastered Danger Man.
I would hope so. I mean, it just depends on how big the fan base is out there. And of course, the fan base gets older every year. Are there new fans coming into Danger Man? I know that obviously through shows like this, you can sort of spread the word a bit. I do wonder how many youngsters would get into Danger Man. The Prisoner maybe more so because it kind of has that social relevance and cult factor, doesn't it? A bit more than maybe Danger Man does. But I agree. I think it would be great if Network were able to do all the episodes. And a big thanks to Brian Hepburn in the chat who's pointed out that there were 86 Danger Man episodes, and it was 80-something. 86 exactly. 39 half hours and 47 50-minute episodes. And I guess that's the block that would take a lot of restoring, to do 57 50-minute episodes and restore them in HD. It would be a hell of a task for a small company like Network.
Yeah. But I mean, they've restored so much stuff. I've kind of been binging while I am experiencing bad weather or cold weather and I can't move because I'm in the middle of moving. But let me see here. I watched Nightfall last night, which is based on the Isaac Asimov story, which also has Alexis Connor in it.
Oh, was it any good?
No, it's a horrible fucking movie. But Alexis Connor was great. He was really good. I've got Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons.
Oh, fair.
And, they restored all those. I think they've restored all of Jerry Anderson's stuff. I've got the restored Space 1999.
Yeah, they've only got Thunderbirds and the Secret Service out of the main shows to go now. They've kind of done all the others. But Jerry Anderson stuff has a huge fan base.
That's true.
They can release anything, and everyone, they've already got a few thousand people that will buy anything that has Jerry Anderson's name on it. Danger Man, I'm wondering if that might be a bit niche, which is why it's taking longer. I think they know that if they do 26 episodes of Captain Scarlet, that they're going to sell the units. Danger Man maybe is something. Maybe they're just taking a bit longer over. Just taking their time is a bit. Oh, we can see you. Hello.
There I am.
Yeah, there you are.
I also grabbed The League of Gentlemen, which they restored. And One of the things that I watched, I think was also yesterday, was Disraeli Portrait of a Romantic with Ian McShane.
Okay.
Which was a limited series. I think just 6-hour-long episodes. And that was great. I'd never heard of it before, and I'm a huge Ian McShane fan. So that was, a really nice surprise. That was originally in 1978, and they remastered it, and it looks really good. I think it was shot at least partially on videotape. The first hour might have been on film because it looks great, and then after that, it looks like sort of video artifacts of the sort that you see in Doctor Who. Light too bright leaves a stream behind it and that kind of thing.
Okay, you have been busy.
There we go.
There you are. Yeah, you froze for a moment there. We had a big close up of you, and then you didn't move, but we've got you back again now.
I made my camera where it's supposed to be. So our giveaway this week is The Hard Way.
Great movie
with Lee Van Cleef and Patrick McGoohan.
Good movie. He plays is a real irascible, typical sort of McGoohan performance, isn't it? That he puts in that. But it's a really interesting movie. I enjoyed it.
And then this is the documentary that we talked about with Tracy last week, In My Mind.
Yep.
Which should be winging its way to him, along with the Danger Man Blu-ray box set, or DVD box set rather, and you can see.
I'll tell you what would be great, and I don't know if this is going to be possible, Cardinal Sim, but it would be great if after Tracy's got that set, we could give him a couple of months to watch some of the episodes and have a special episode if he can get on, which is always the big question. If he can get on it and tell us what he thinks of Danger Man, it'd be great to have an episode where we could just chat about Danger Man with Tracy once he's got the chance to view a few episodes.
And actually, I think that's a great idea. Stick around after the end of the show so that we can do a little conversation backstage.
No problem.
Brian Hepburn says, I would love to have a remastered Danger Man set. I have the Secret Agent, aka Danger Man set that A&E put out like 20 years ago. Yeah, I think that's the mega set that I had on DVD. But I'm really happy to have this.
Yeah, a lot of us here in the UK have got that A&E set as well, because it was never released on DVD here until a long time after.
Really?
Yeah, we got the first, I think, 16 of the half-hour episodes on DVD from a company called Carlton in about 2001, and then about a year later, A&E bought out all the half hours, so we all nabbed and got that set. All got multi-region players, and then the half hours weren't released again until Network put them out 10 years later.
Wow. Plenty o discs for sure.
Yeah, no, it is a great set.
And I just they've got to release this on remastered, or someone does anyway.
Would be great. And I mean, I know I said this earlier on, but I mean, it works out at about 70p an episode if you bought that set. Whereas going back to the VHS days, you'd pay, £10 in the UK. What would that have been now? Then in the late 80s, that would have been about $18, $19 for 2 episodes. Whereas now you're paying less than $1 for an episode. It's amazing how times have changed. We would queue up and wait for 2 more episodes of whatever show, whether you're talking The Outer Limits or or Star Trek or The Prisoner
Mm-hmm.
or Danger Man or whatever. You're paying $10 an episode, and now we're paying less than $1. Times have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah, they really have. And everybody expects everything to be 16:9 aspect ratio, remastered 5.1 at the very least. And that's not easy to do. Michael Beacom also mentions my set was from a company called ITV Studios, definitely not restored. Any ideas about that?
Yeah, so ITV Studios actually own the rights to all the ITC shows. Network sub-licensed the rights from them. So ITC basically became ITV Studios they became Polygram first of all, and then they changed their name to Carlton. And then Carlton were merged with Granada Ventures into ITV Studios. And ITV started to bring out box sets of some of their shows. Thunderbirds is one, and Danger Man was another. But they didn't bother doing anything with it. They literally just bunged. It was almost like watching VHS, and I'm sure Michael will back me up here. It was like watching VHS quality on a DVD disc. It was that they put no effort into it whatsoever, packaged it up as quickly as they could, and put it all in the supermarkets and so on, and then sent it over to America as well to be sold in stores there. And the quality is not great, but thank God for Network coming in and sprucing it all up for us.
Oh yeah, and I've been watching films that I otherwise wouldn't even be aware of, and then I've got Jack the Ripper coming up to watch.
The Michael Caine one.
The Michael Caine, yeah. He's down here now that he's old. He's Michael Caine,
I had no idea he was from India, Cardinal Sim.
What's that?
I had no idea he was Indian.
Who's Indian?
I'm joking. I'm taking the mick out of your accent, mate.
I see. Right, yeah. Yeah, the Time Prophet always calls my accent a really bad Australian accent. He's taking the piss,
Yeah. No, you do. You actually, to be fair, I know a lot of Americans, and you do a very good English accent. I'm not going to knock that. I'm only kidding.
Well, I appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you, and I have been, studying various Commonwealth accents and British accents for my whole life, really. So, the thing for me that I guess could get me in trouble. We have a really nice brew pub here in Lawrence called Free State Brewing Company. And there were these two guys who were these tall, broad, they must have been either basketball players or rugby players, because they were just built, they were obviously very athletic, and they were twins. And I would see them come in once in a while, sit with them, and when I hear somebody's accent, I can recreate it very easily. And for instance, I'm not really proud of this, but they left. I was at the bar and just having a beer, and I moved to a chair, and a guy sat next to me and started up a conversation, and I just kept talking in the accent that I was in, and I talked to this guy for like 2 hours, and his girlfriend called him, and he was like, I gotta go, I can't talk, I'm talking to this guy from England, he's British. And I said, Kent, and he said, he's from Kent. and eventually, we went our separate ways or whatever. And then later, maybe a month or so, give or take, I saw him walk in. I didn't realize he was an employee there. I saw him walk in, and I was just talking just like I am now, my regular voice, to a friend of mine, and once he heard me, he turned around and walked out because he at that point realized that I'd been having him on. I didn't mean anything by it. I never said that other than when I said Kent. I mean, whenever I do that sort of thing, I never tell people I'm British or I'm from XY
Yeah.
in the UK. You know, you have a couple of beers, you know, that kind of thing tends to happen with me anyway.
Yeah, no problem.
So,
We talked with Tracy, didn't we, about you know, learning different accents and but, you know, the difference between Americans doing British accents and Brits doing American accents. So it is wherever you're from to try and you can do it for a sentence. Anyone can put on any accent for a few words. To do it over an entire conversation is actually very difficult.
yeah, and you know, like I said, when I hear the accent, I can generally, I mean, as long as it's not like South African, I can't do South African. But when I hear the accent, I can recreate it, and then I just, you know, kept doing it sort of internally and working on it, and then, you know, that guy came in and struck up a conversation, you know, and I guess I intended to to, you know, drop it, you know, after the first 30 seconds, and then just didn't. So yeah, but I take your meaning. Yeah, doing it for an entire conversation is really hard.
Yeah, yeah.
And Ari agrees that South African is really hard. I thought that Matt Damon did a pretty passable job in Invictus. He must have had a really good voice coach. Michael Beacom also mentions, we've talked accents before, but is there any American actor who does a flawless English one? Not aware of any. There you go. Two people I can think of. Obviously, Johnny Depp with his Captain Jack Sparrow, which is, you know, bits of this and that. But the American actor that really did a great British accent was Robert Downey Jr. In Sherlock Holmes, because he had to do it before for Chaplin, which won an Oscar. I don't know if he won the Oscar, but the movie did. Might have been best movie or best director. I don't remember.
Yeah, he does a good English accent. It must be said. He's done a few films where he's had to play it. The film called Restoration, it's sort of a medieval type affair, and he does pull that off. If you showed that movie to someone who didn't know, you know, his background, they would probably assume he was an English actor.
Restoration. I'll have to make a note of that. Is that a
90s.
British film or an American film?
Yeah, it's a British film, I think, from the 90s. Comedy, kind of medieval comedy type thing. You might enjoy
Restoration of the Daleks. I will make a note here. Tell me, Rick, what did you think of Colony 3?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite Danger Man episodes, not just because of the prisoner elements, but because it is just such an interesting story. As you say, it is different to any other episode. It's not my absolute favorite, but no, I really enjoy it. I think it's I think the guest stars are all very good, and there's a good kind of villainy character in there. It's got every part of what makes a good Danger Man story. It's just an interesting premise. You don't know what's going to happen next. You know, Drake's doing a great kind of impersonation of who he's pretending to be. There's a great bit of kind of Bond gadgetry in there, you know, where he's putting the camera in the typewriter and everything and so on. Yeah, really good episode. I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. And I'm glad that Network chose to restore that one was obvious that if they were gonna choose some, they have to choose that one because that one's the most prisonery. But even so, I'm pleased that they chose that as one of the ones that they did restore, because I think it is an excellent episode, and I like the location work in it as well. I don't know if people know, but the Hampden Newtown exteriors still exist. They're a place called South Hatfield, which is just north of London, and once every couple of years, a chap called David Lally does a tour of the locations from the episode. You can get the details from the Mutual, though there's no scheduled tours at the moment. The last one took place in July last year, during a kind of minimal lifting of the COVID restrictions that we had at that time. And yes, you can visit the locations. You can actually go to Hampden Newtown from Colony 3.
Can you tell us how to get there from your website, theunmutual.co.uk?
Yeah, there's nothing on there specifically because it's Danger Man. There's the sister site, which is danger-man.co.uk, is where you'd find the locations for Colony 3.
Is there a link to that?
Yeah, on the right. You can see it on the right-hand side of your screen there. So the image has a sister site, which is dangerman.co.uk, expertly put together by a guy called Matthew Cortman, who knows everything about Danger Man. He is the man.
And of course, he reciprocates your website here.
He does. And if you go to all the red links at the top, the first column, middle one, on location, I think would be the right one. And then you can find all the Colony 3 locations in amongst lots of other episodes.
Well, if they're doing location tours of this and Port Marion, I'd say there's definitely still an audience for Danger Man.
I mean, I've got to be honest, they're not, we're talking a Colony 3 locations tour maybe has 8 or 10 people turn up. I don't think that's I don't think that's enough to sell a DVD set on, to be honest with you. But there we are, Colony 3. You're just coming to it. If you just go down a little bit.
Oh, was it?
Yep, you're just getting to it. There, keep going. Keep going. You're still on the half-hour episodes at the moment. You did get to it, and then you shot straight back up to the topic again. So keep going. Not
there
far now, I don't think. Okay, have you got it? Great.
Yeah.
So you recognise that from the very first shot, actually, where he's hanging around outside the house. Now, a lot of the locations really haven't changed. The Hampden Newtown locations in Hatfield, very, very similar. As you can see
where is Hatfield?
Hatfield is just north of London. It's about 5 miles north of London. Yeah. Unfortunately, they are demolishing the row of shops that you see on the right there, on the bottom row there, which you see in the episode as being the shops where he first arrives. Where you can see the litter. Unfortunately, they're due for demolition in the next year or so. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to go to that location very much.
I guess I'd better get my passport in order and take the tour.
You've got to do all the prisoner locations as well, haven't you, Cardinal? Soon, which I know
that's right.
One day, and which you will.
What a beautiful, just the architecture, and I'm a sucker for teal, and they've got all the rails and the metal sort of painted teal, either that or it's copper that's really been in poor repair. I can't tell, but this one's got teal on it as well, like the window sills and the trim, things like that. The Citizens Advice Bureau, and somebody during the watch party mentioned that that there was a Citizens Advice Bureau in The Prisoner.
Yes, when they're doing a helicopter tour in Arrival, he's quite correct. Whoever pointed that out. In Arrival, number 2 says, that's the Citizens Advice Bureau, and then the camera pans around, so you don't actually see him go into that. That would have been an interesting episode, wouldn't he? What problems would you like to talk about, number 6? Well, where do we start? You could have answered.
Yeah. Ari's like, let's go. I think we can arrange that. But first, one should probably see all the episodes of The Prisoner and Danger Man. So I'll have to get my copier working overtime. Never mind restoring 80 plus episodes of Danger Man. Just copying that many episodes should take forever.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost the same.
Easier just to buy him his own set.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Never mind the shipping.
Yeah, that'd be one hell of a pirate job, wouldn't it? All those blank discs would cost the same as buying the set in the first place.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when it comes down to it, the only issue would be does one have a region-free Blu-ray player or not?
Yeah, but even they are becoming so much cheaper than they used to be.
Oh, I know. I was so surprised when I found out. You can get one for I think like $145.
Yeah.
Up. I mean, you can spend as much money as you want on one, but
yeah, much more affordable than they used to be. And you need one because there's so much stuff that only gets released in either North America or Britain. Things don't get a cross-channel release, do they? Very rarely do you get something come out in both places at once, in the same, with the same extras and everything. So I think everyone really needs to get one to enjoy all the content from both continents. Especially for the Prisoner sets, because there is no 50th Prisoner set in the States. So if you want to watch all this great content, you've
that's a real shame. Yeah. But these days, easily enough gotten around. I also got. I kind of went on a binge on network. Let me stop sharing and make myself big. I got from network The Lonely Place, a Humphrey Bogart movie that I'd never seen. That is a classic. It's a very unusual film for Bogey, and it has what's her name in it? Gloria Graham. Have you seen this film?
I've not. No. I'm not a Bogart aficionado. I must admit.
Oh man, that one's Treasure of the Sierra Madre, The Maltese Falcon, The Big Sleep. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I know those films. They're the big ones, but I haven't
Great stuff.
In that particular one.
Casablanca, obviously. And this is a film that I was unfamiliar with that I got through network. It's Last Night in Soho. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it. I've not seen it.
It's got Anna Taylor-Joy in it. And I'll watch anything that she's in. Thomasin McKenzie and Anna Taylor-Joy. And it is a great movie. I can't recommend this movie highly enough. It's that good.
Did you watch The Hard Way, Cardinal Sin? I know you're giving it away as a giveaway shortly. Did you watch it, or did you?
I watched the first half of it, and I hate it when people say, I watched part of it, or I think I watched part of it. But I definitely need to start over and watch the whole thing. But the first half was great. I was just really tired and had to, get up the next day to do a stream. So,
yeah.
Let's see. Michael Beacom says, I only turn a blind eye to piracy when the legitimate sources fall down on their obligation to produce legitimate media for us, or fail to go multi-regional. And my answer to that would be, okay, and also that when I got the Danger Man mega set, actually I don't think I borrowed it from the library. I think I owned it. I bought it at Brits. Have I mentioned Brits before to you, Rick?
You have, yeah.
Yeah. It's a local shop that sort of sells to either Anglophiles that are American or expat Brits maybe that live here in town, of which there aren't that many. Although there are a large number of international students here. So, they sell curries and, all kinds of prepackaged foods, British flags, and they used to rent British films, and I think they ended up not doing that anymore. I was going to see what else I might have on hand from... Oh, here's Jack the Ripper that I mentioned before. That I got through network with Michael Caine.
Yeah.
And it's got Jane Seymour in it, who is a hottie. The Medusa Touch with Richard Burton.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen that one yet.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Oh, I thought this was really cool. The Cybernauts.
Oh, yeah, great.
The trilogy from the Avengers.
I mean, I'd love Network to do all of the Avengers on Blu-ray, I must admit.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. I hope that happens one day. A bit like Danger Man, it's one of those series that you looks so much more beautiful on film. And if you haven't already watched it, you'll enjoy how they've restored the Cybernauts episodes. They look great.
Bloody microphone. And then, again, as part of my binge, I got The Man from Planet X, which is the film that Ari and I went to go see at the Inglewood when Forrest J. Ackerman was hosting the Area 1951 film festival. And this was the only film in the history of the theater that broke during playing it. It was like maybe 4 minutes into the film and the film broke. And so they had these extra tickets on hand that they gave out to people in case a film broke, which had never happened before. But it was good for any movie at the Inglewood. And I just scrapbooked it because it was a one of a kind rather than get a free movie, the one free movie ticket was, I think, more important. And then I just finished this yesterday, Disraeli, Portrait of a Romantic. And this has a very young Ian McShane in it, and he's like one of my favorite actors. And the makeup job that they do on him as he goes through the life of Benjamin Disraeli was excellent. I mean, it was really good. And it's a great little miniseries. I really like it. There are some things that Network has remastered and put out that just aren't great films or TV shows, but there's a market out there somewhere for them. Like,
yeah, I think a lot of people also, I know people that buy stuff they don't like from Network just to support the company, because every time you buy something from Network, it then funds the restoration of something that you do want to see.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I actually didn't know anything about Benjamin Disraeli other than he said life is too short to be small. That's the only thing I knew about him.
Yeah.
But England's first Jewish prime minister, huh?
Yeah, I think so. It's not a historical figure I know a great deal about either, but I'm aware of the series, and I think McShane apparently does a good performance in it.
Oh, it's brilliant. He's so good in this. Yeah. And The only other person that I remembered from it was Aubrey Brown. Is that his name?
Aubrey Morris, who appears in The
Morris.
Prisoner. Yeah.
Yeah.
In The Wicker Man, and
he's actually not in this.
Ah.
He was someone that looked like him.
Okay, no problem.
But yeah, I think on the whole, I've been getting films that I otherwise wouldn't have access to through network, and as long as I make sure to make a large enough purchase, the shipping, it becomes.
I think you get that with buying it from anywhere in the UK. If you buy one item, you pay a massive amount of shipping. If you buy 20 items, you're paying the same shipping.
Yeah,
So
the shipping is like £30 whether you buy one or a box full. So
yeah, a lot of places in the UK that you order from will be that way.
Worth
saving up a list and then getting it all at once.
The only time I ordered from network, and I didn't make a big order and make sure that I looked movies up and got ones that I wanted to watch, is when they had like a 45% off sale not very long ago, and I was almost out of time. I had to be somewhere, and so I had my cart like full. I think I had like 15 movies or series, and I just had to order it and go. Other than that, I've been very meticulous in the stuff that I either knew that I wanted, looked good enough that I could, check it out on IMDb and see whether it was a good movie or not that great a movie. If it was based on an actor or a story that I like. But other than that, I've found some old Alfred Hitchcock films. The Man Who Knew Too Much was restored by network, which always reminds me of the Steve Martin movie, The Man Who Knew Too Little. But yeah, they've done so much great work, and they've put out stuff that looks fantastic, unless it was originally on videotape, when, like I said, it has a lot of those artifacts that you just can't get rid of. And they've put out some stuff that's just garbage, so Danger Man, has to be pretty close to the next thing that they're going to do, I would think.
Yeah. They're a great company, worth supporting, as we talked about many times before. And they really are. Have you got anything? What's on your wish list other than Danger Man? What other series would you dearly like to see restored?
I'd like to see the original series of Star Trek restored to 4K. They remastered it, but it's time to do a remaster. There was a series that I saw that they had created from a 4:3 aspect ratio to a 16:9 aspect ratio, and I couldn't figure out how they did that. Do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, no, it's not something that I'm an expert on. As you know, my work for network has always been on the special feature content rather than the actual restoring of the film elements. I don't know how it works. I do know that they've tested 4K for The Prisoner, and it actually was less good quality than the Blu-ray. Amazing. Yeah. I don't know how that works or why that is. I've got the Star Trek Blu-ray, the original series, I should say, which is the only far as I'm concerned, on Blu-ray. And there were a couple of times where it gets a bit flaky. You do wonder whether they rushed it out, but I don't know the information on that. You might know more than I as to whether it was
One
rushed.
thing that I do know is I'm friends with a YouTuber and a guy that's been everything from a production assistant to a director, writer, and kind of settled in the middle as an editor and a color timer and things like that. His name is Robert Meyer Burnett, and his channel is called The Burnett Work. And he, like I said, he's done color timing and all different kinds of things. And he did the special features for Star Trek The Next Generation and interviewed the entire cast and was the moderator for, one of the reunions. Also with Enterprise, I think, which was already shot in HD anyway, so it probably doesn't need any more remastering. I was really happy to see that they remastered the old Dark House. That would definitely have been on my list.
Oh, the old Universal picture. Yeah, great. I mean, I love I've got the Wolfman box set. Those great Universal horrors of the Wolfman films. House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and they look beautiful, don't they?
They do. And I picked up a box set of Universal monster films, Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Wolfman, Invisible Man, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. And those all occupy a very special place in my heart. I've been a big fan of those kinds of movies for a long time.
Yeah.
Which is all Ree's fault. And recently I've been kind of binging on these weren't restored by network but by the BBC, and I've been binging on Doctor Who, which we've discussed many times.
Yeah, you've got the new collection sets, which even the video stuff shot on video looks better, doesn't it? They've managed to upscale it in some way.
Yeah, and some of the parts are shot on film, especially if they're on location.
Yeah, the location stuff on film looks great.
So that looks brilliant. And boy, there's enough Tom Baker to choke a horse.
Yeah, there's more on the way as well. I think they've got 2 seasons of Baker, another McCoy, and another Colin Baker ready to roll.
Yeah, there's a Colin Baker that's coming out, but the pre-release price is way too high. It's like $60-something.
Wow.
Yeah, and
4 here, because you can get the sets in 2 different versions. You can get like a deluxe edition, which has got photo cards and stuff in it, and that's like £10 more than the sets that you've got there. I'm buying the same sets that you are.
Yeah. And I've got one more that doesn't go in this set because I think it's that deluxe edition.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta turn this ring light off. So this is season 17. And it's got all kinds of goodies in it. I mean, first of all, it's got this really cool booklet that actually isn't a booklet. It has some Velcro and opens up like the TARDIS does. And then it has a book and another little booklet, and then it has the interior of the TARDIS there.
Fantastic.
which is a lot of fun. And then it's got a booklet. And some of the best episodes of Doctor Who are in here. Also, some of the worst episodes I've ever seen. Which I had never seen until I started watching this. This has Destiny of the Daleks.
It's one of my least favourite eras of Doctor Who, I must admit. Tom Baker's clearly beginning to get bored and tired of the of playing the Doctor. I think that's always been my opinion. And the production values start to slip. John Nathan Turner's coming in, and things don't quite work as well.
The Creature from the Pit.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That's underrated.
Nightmare of Eden.
Yeah.
The Horns of Naimon, which I remember liking a lot at the time.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I don't mind that one so much.
Shada.
Which, of course, is incomplete.
Right. And then a disc of Shada bonus material. And the whole thing comes out. And then you can...
it's a great set, though.
You can see the Tom Baker there at the end of the box set. But yeah, it's a really nice set.
Yeah, lovely. Absolutely brilliant.
And one thing I think that sends a message of the kind I want to send to the Beeb is by ordering the old Doctor Who, the classic stuff, they'll see the numbers of people that are interested in good storytelling instead of woke garbage, and hopefully that'll at least make the bean counters take notice, if nothing else.
There's always a market for old Who. That is one thing that, we talked earlier on about Jerry Anderson. You can sell anything as long as it's got Jerry Anderson on it. It doesn't matter how many times we're asked to rebuy the same Doctor Who stories. We'll always do it.
And the bonus features are unbelievable. Just behind the sofa is great.
Yeah.
Which is where they bring together old cast members, doctors, companions, etc., and they show their reaction to watching the episodes, but they're really condensed. And here's another one that I got that I never would have even heard of if it hadn't been for Network, which is a David Niven movie called Happily Ever After.
Okay, not one I know. I love David Niven. I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it's also got Yvonne DiCarlo in it.
Oh, Mrs. Munster.
Yeah, which for me was like, ding, 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 getting that one. So, yeah, I mean, lots of good stuff, and yeah, I just can't say enough good things about Network. How did you get involved with Network, Rick?
Yeah, so it was funnily enough, it was the 40th anniversary set that I first, I'd always been a customer. I think that they kind of sort of knew who I was. On the 40th anniversary original box set, it came with an accompanying book by a guy called Andrew Pixley, who's a very famous TV historian here in Britain. And he was writing the viewing notes for the book so that if people wanted to learn more about the episodes and watch along, a bit like my text commentaries on the 50th set. And he came to me and said, look, I know you know a lot about The Prisoner. Would you just look through the book just to check there aren't any errors? Have a look through and whatever. And I did that, and I got a thank you from the managing director, Tim Beddoes, who was a great guy. And at that point, we were doing conventions in Portmeirion in the mid-2000s. The Mutual website was organising events at that point, which we do at Elstree Studios now. But at the time, we were doing them in Portmeirion. And we were doing an event to do with The Prisoner in 2007. So this was the 40th anniversary event that we did in Portmeirion. And we said to Network, why don't you come along? You've got this box set coming out that I've just, kind of proofread the book for, or whatever you want to call it. Proofread's probably over-egging the pudding a bit. But come along, tell everyone about this set. We can show some before and after. Show us how you restored the film. We can show some before VHS clips and then show what your version looks like on the big screen. And Tim said, yeah, I'll come along. And he and I have been great friends ever since. And then anything related to The Prisoner, he always very kindly asked me to be involved. So obviously the 50th set came along, and he was very keen that I very much get involved in that. So he invited me along for the In My Mind movie to, provide some footage and some photographs for use in the film. I went along for the exterior footage for the drone filming they did for that. And then he said, look, we really need some text commentaries for the set, we want something on the set that's different. What can you do? And I said, well, I could do a book. And he said, well, we did a book last time. I said, well, what about putting a book on the screen? So you've got info text. They do it on the Doctor Who DVDs very successfully. Why don't we do that? And Tim said, great, what else have you got? So I ended up providing him a load of other stuff as well for the sets, stills galleries, and the 8 mil behind the scenes footage or whatever came from me as well. And so, yeah, it all came from the 40th anniversary, just helping Andrew Pixley with his book. The MD said, thanks very much. I invited him to Port Merion, and we've been friends ever since.
I hope they paid you.
Oh, they did. Yes, they did. It was as well as being a pleasure to do, it was a commercial work that was done for them. So yes, I was paid very handsomely. I would have done it for nothing, but I'm very pleased to say that I was paid.
Are you widely recognized in the UK as sort of the foremost expert on The Prisoner?
That's very kind of you to say that. I think people in the UK know that I know a lot about the show and that I'm very passionate about it. Whether I'm seen as the foremost expert, I'll let others make that decision and not make that myself. But yeah, I've been asked to contribute to a lot of things. So when Titan put out the Jack Kirby comic hardback book, they asked me to write a kind of afterword history of The Prisoner for that. I've written a foreword to about 3 or 4 other Prisoner books. The CD set that came out before Network put out the CD set, I was asked to write a foreword for that. So yeah, I kind of get involved in a lot of Prisoner related things. I would say that anyone that's to do with The Prisoner in the UK would know, at least would know the Unmutual, if not me.
I almost forgot to include, I think that you said that this was your favorite Doctor.
Yeah, he was he was your first Doctor. Anyway. He was my Doctor. I think people loved the Doctor that they first saw. And he was the Doctor when I was a kid and when I was kind of growing up and wanting to get into telly and so on. Yeah, Peter Davison, I love.
And such great material, in this box set. And the extras are unbelievable.
It's phenomenal the amount they pack onto those Doctor Who releases. It really is.
Something like 24 hours of bonus materials.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's worth the money on its own without the episodes, to be fair.
Yeah, you're right. But, having the restored episodes is so great. And you're right, it is kind of an in-joke that fans of certain franchises will buy, the newest format, whether it's, for instance, Star Wars. They had the new, newfangled VHS tapes, and then the Blu-ray or the Laserdisc, and then the DVD and the Blu-ray, and we just keep buying those over and over because they get better and better. And I think, in defense of fans that buy every, upgrade of media that there is of these shows that they love, you can hear better, you can see better, you notice things you didn't notice before. It's something that, especially with Doctor Who, we can go back and watch things that we either haven't seen in a long time or have never seen, and we don't have to worry about this new woke Doctor Who stuff. And answering your previous question about what would I like to see remastered, Greg 2600 says Deep Space Nine and Voyager remain in cruddy standard definition. I would definitely like to see those done. And also, Sliders remains non-remastered. No one is sure if the masters are on film or video. The special effects are definitely video because they were Video Toaster special effects. But Babylon 5 has been remastered, and they remastered the special effects, and I thought they looked great. They were on videotape because the Video Toaster was a videotape-oriented non-linear video editing system, but it was on a magnetic medium, and therefore there's only so much you can do with it. So I think for my part, Sliders for sure, at least the first 2 seasons anyway. And Ari says, can we get Rick to comment on the ending of this week's episode and compare it with what we usually get in The Prisoner?
Yeah, the ending of Colony 3 is the only thing that not the plot, the way the plot ends. I think it is slightly rushed. And to be fair, do we get any rushed endings in The Prisoner? I'm just trying to think. I think everything is pretty well paced in The Prisoner. It's a different thing, isn't it? Because the Prisoner, each episode, the ending comes with, it's not a cliffhanger. Every ending of The Prisoner, you immediately think to yourself, okay, so how's he going to get out? I've got to tune in next week to find out how he gets out. I want to know who number 1 is, so I've got to tune in next week. So there is a pull to come back the next week. In Danger Man, you don't get that so much, do you? It's right. An ending. You know, the story has ended. It's like the end of a Bond film, isn't it? The story.
Yeah, well, it's episodic television.
Adventure next time. Whereas with The Prisoner, even though the episodes don't follow on, you're always thinking to yourself, okay, in the next episode, I hope we get some more information. I hope we get some sort of resolution. You don't get that in Danger Man because it's not that kind of show. It's not it's 50 minutes of entertainment. Bang, now it's finished. It's story of the week stuff, which you don't really get in The Prisoner so much. But yeah. I love Danger Man. I really would recommend it to anybody and a lot of Prisoner fans have never seen Danger Man. I know Tracy had never seen it. A lot of Prisoner fans haven't seen it. I think it's a great show. I think McGowan's great in it. I like the John Drake character. There's some great stories. There's not many clunkers. You expect, we always compare, Star Trek's a great comparison because there's a similar number of episodes, 79 and 86. There are probably 10 at least weak Star Trek original series episodes. There's not that many in Danger Man. I think there's probably maybe only 5 or 6 weak Danger Man episodes. And I can't even.
And they're not even terribly weak. They're just not
as good as the others. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Alternative Factor, I think, is probably just weak. But that's just my personal bugbear when it comes to original series Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. What are your favorite shows other than The Prisoner and Danger Man?
Okay, Star Trek the original series, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and therefore Angel, I think were 2 fantastic series if you want to talk more modern day. I do love the ITC series, so Randall Hopkirk Deceased, which was shown in the US as a series called My Partner the Ghost. I love The Saint and Return of the Saint. The Persuaders with Roger Moore and Tony Curtis, absolutely fantastic. Out of the Jerry Anderson series, UFO is actually my favorite.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Space 1999, I have to say.
Yeah, the second season really didn't have anything going for it.
Yeah, there's a UK series called Robin of Sherwood that I'm very fond of, which was a sort of early 80s, Robin Hood.
I remember, yeah.
Story, which, I really love. But my top 5 all-time series are The Prisoner, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Star Trek, the original series, the New Avengers, which I prefer to the Avengers, and that's going to shock a lot of people listening. I love the New Avengers, and probably Randall Hopkirk Deceased, so My Partner the Ghost. They would be my top 5 all-time shows. But of course, I love the Twilight Zone. I love some of Outer Limits. Obviously, we've got comedy series which we won't get into, but I also love stuff that isn't particularly good, but I loved it as a kid. So, Land of the Giants, what a great series that was as a kid. You watch it now, and it's kind of not quite the same, is it? But I loved it as a kid. There's a series here called Life on Mars, a recent series which people might know, which is about a
I
detective.
love Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes, both.
Yeah, fantastic. So I love those series too. So, yeah, that would be what I'd put up there as being the best. I'm sure there's a couple of shows, many shows I've forgotten to mention, but that would be the top ones for me.
And how many of those have been remastered? We know The Prisoner has been. Danger Man hasn't been.
Okay, all of the shows.
Has the Avengers been remastered?
The new Avengers Network are working on it. I think they were due to be bringing that out this year, but I think there are some issues which have come in late on with rights. But I think the remastering work has been done. I think it's just a case of all the paperwork now that has to be done. I think
rights and all that thing.
Yeah, they've had a problem with Buffy, I think, haven't they? Didn't they try to remaster that, and they basically messed it all up by getting the filters wrong. So daytime sequences look like they were night, and nighttime sequences look like they were day, and they got that wrong is what I heard. Certainly hasn't had a Blu-ray release in the UK anyway.
I hadn't heard about that.
I think every other Twilight Zone's been Blu-ray, doesn't it? So Twilight Zone's now in HD.
Yes.
I think every show I mentioned has come out in HD now. So I think all my favourites are now available on Blu-ray, apart from The Champions, which is an ITC show, which they still haven't done in HD. It looks great, but it's one of those shows that looks so good in DVD. You know, when you get something that was so grainy on VHS, they do such a good job on DVD, you think, how can they make it any better for Blu-ray?
Ari says, he asks, anything going on now that you like? 1883 is my current vice.
Do you know what? I have so little time. I'm kind of a bit behind on current TV. My wife watches a lot of current TV, so she watches a lot of stuff on Netflix. I enjoyed Squid Game, as probably everybody did. I thought that was an interesting show. There's nothing I would say that's current that I'm really kind of into. A few of the things that have kind of gone down as legendary. I tried Game of Thrones, just couldn't get into it. And there's other modern shows that I've tried as well, just couldn't. They just didn't grab me in the same way. I mean, if I'm wrong with that, and I apologise to anyone that's there a Game of Thrones fan, maybe I didn't give it long enough.
I think when George R. R. Martin took his light touch off to get back to work on books or his choo-choo train or whatever, I think that because David Benioff had never studied screenwriting, he won a Pulitzer Prize for a novel, but he'd never been a showrunner. He was the son of a vice president of Goldman Sachs, who knew, the head of HBO, and he got the job that way. He said he tried writing or reading some screenwriting books, and it wasn't working for him. And he said that he instead just bought the scripts to his 10 favorite movies and learned screenwriting that way, which is to say that he didn't learn screenwriting. And when they forced him to pick another writer, he actually just grabbed a guy from the production side and basically just said, do what I do. And it ended up, in the last season, as I'm sure you're aware, a horrible nightmare of an ending. The guy just can't write his way out of a wet paper sack.
Right.
At least in screenwriting. I mean, he would put, director's notes into the areas in between the dialogue, and it would say things like, this character and this character are staring at each other, and this character is meant to convey the following with a look. And there'd be like a paragraph about all these intense feelings and that kind of thing. And then the actors just have to look at each other and try to express that. That's not screenwriting. It's just awful. I actually quite enjoyed Game of Thrones up until, I think, the 5th season. And that's when George R. R. Martin, thought that they had it down enough that they could do it by themselves. And a lot of people say that they consider the end of Game of Thrones to be the Red Wedding, which I think was in season 4. But yeah, you're probably better off reading the books than watching the show. I haven't read the books, but I had the benefit of my friend Jeremy, who has read the books, turning me onto the show, and we would watch a couple episodes every other week. And if I had any questions or anything, he could pause and answer my questions. So that was really helpful. But yeah, I agree. It wasn't a great show.
Well, on that note, I'm afraid I'm going to have to love you and leave you in a few minutes, Cardinal Sin. So I know you wanted me to hang around after the show, but I can't stay much longer.
Fair enough. Michael Beacom says, regarding Game of Thrones, you got out in time. The series hit the ground like one of the crash simulations I watch in the Smithsonian series Air Disasters.
I love Air Disasters. We watch that here. Thanks, Michael. Your advice means a lot to me, as you know, every week. And for you to say that I've done the right thing by ducking out doesn't make me regret the decision.
Yeah, I agree with him. And he also says Game of Thrones is mentioned in the same breath as the Hindenburg, the Titanic, the Exxon Valdez, etc. So, since Rick, you have to be going, is there anything that you want to talk about in advance of next week for iStation Zebra before we get to the giveaway? We can.
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's a movie I've seen, but to be fair, I've not seen it for a long time, so I'm going to enjoy watching it afresh. It'd be interesting to watch it having just seen Danger Man and having just obviously been through 17 weeks of talking about The Prisoner with you. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope we get a good gang. We get a good turnout for the watch along with Danger Man tonight, and I hope we get a similar turnout next week for the movie. It'd be interesting to see what everyone thinks of McGowan's performance.
I agree. And let's take a look here real quick. Oh, yes. That would be my bad. Sorry, one-man show. I'm my own producer and my own worst enemy. There you go, Darius. Check your DM. And so just looking forward to it in the watch party. I will do what I can to make it get the word out more, and hopefully we can is that the sort of thing that you would list on the unmutual.co.uk?
Yeah, I can do that. Do you want me to sort of put a shout out and tell people that it's happening?
Yeah, I'll send you the link, and
yeah, no problem. Happy to do that.
We can do that. That might help.
Yeah, happy to do that.
And you have a Facebook page too, right?
Yeah, sure. I can put it on there. Just send me the link, and I'll share it around.
Great. That would be awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Absolutely. You know me.
Yeah. Well, Darius Munchausen is here, so if we need to let you go, Rick, we can say goodbye until next week,
Hey,
And
great. I
I'll
know you
bring.
wanted to say something private. Just put me an email and do that. Just send me an email and
I
I'll
will.
answer you in full with whatever you wanted to say. Yeah,
Yeah, I
brilliant.
will.
Such a
Absolutely.
pleasure. Good luck to you all in the giveaway. And thanks for having me on again. It's been a genuine
Of
pleasure. I really
course.
enjoyed it.
Thanks for
Thanks.
being
And
here.
until next week, we'll be seeing you.
Be seeing you. And welcome, Darius Munchausen.
Oh, hello. Thank you. Yeah, I entered people manually onto the wheel here. So, I even put Rick on it. I have Ari, Greg, Michael, and Ivan.
And you.
And well, okay. Should I leave Rick on since he's gone, or take him off?
I think he's already got a copy. So,
Okay, all right.
you said you got Greg?
Yep, I've got Ari, Greg, Michael, Ivan, and myself. And when I asked people to enter one, nobody who'd been sort of quiet for 30 minutes or more said anything, so I'm going to assume that they are no longer in the chat.
And that would include Uri. So you'll have to take
He's
his
still here.
name off.
Well, he's still here. Do you want me to take him off?
I think that he is no longer here because he didn't want to be on the giveaway. Or maybe he is still here.
He's here, but yeah, I mean, if he wants to be on the giveaway, then I've already got him on there. If he wants me to take him off, then of course I will. But
I
he's
think
here.
you should. Yeah, you should take him off.
Okay. All right, we'll take Ari off. All right, Michael. Yep, Michael, I've got you on the wheel already. So we just only got 4 of us left. We got Greg, Michael, Ivan, and me. Anybody else?
Well, he says, I usually recuse myself, but if you need warm bodies,
Okay,
so
put it back on.
put him back on.
All right. Let's see. I haven't seen Sherry pop back up or D. Bud Martin, so I have not entered them onto the wheel. Brian Hepburn. Okay. Let's see. Just double check here. Ari, Michael, Ivan, Greg. Yep. Yep. Going back about 30 minutes. So, okay. I think this is, well, these are our contestants. Shall I spin the wheel?
If we're ready to roll, spin that wheel.
All right. Greg! Congratulations, Greg.
Congratulations.
All right.
Great
Now we just
going,
have to
Greg.
get Greg's mailing address privately to you.
Yeah. And we can do that easily enough. Greg, if you can send me an email at gil@sunflower.com with your address and t-shirt size and your blood type. No. But I'll be mailing those directly, so I'll need the mailing address and your t-shirt size. And congratulations.
Yeah. There you go. See? It pays to watch Cardinals sin.
It does pay to watch Cardinal sin. That's right. And we'll have a giveaway next week as well for the iStation Zebra watch party. I think we're going to start at the same time we started today, and at
2 p.m. Central?
instead of 3. Yeah, for the
Okay.
watch party. Once I figured out what I was doing, the Cosme worked perfectly. It was great.
Good, good.
Except for some reason Tracy couldn't hear it. But I think that was on their end. Michael Beacom says, the fun part about the Amazon Lord of the Rings series is going to be watching Christopher Tolkien rise from the grave as an avenging revenant.
That's funny.
I remember reading that Jeff Bezos said, quote, "I want a Game of Thrones," unquote. And I think that's what they're going to give us.
I think so. I think they're going to make a bid on that $2 billion auction for all the rights, all the rest of the rights.
Yep. I think you're right. Yeah, those just came on, last week?
A few days ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, did I tell you what else I got in the mail?
No.
That shirt you're wearing.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, but in my tiny size.
Cool.
Yeah. And I got the mug, of course.
Of course.
Oh, Greg's going to sleep.
Yeah. I guess it might be late, wherever Greg is.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Okay, so 3 p.m. my time and 2 p.m. your time next Wednesday.
Yeah, and then
PlayStation Zebra.
It's a feature-length film, so it'll go 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. So the actual episode of I'm Not a Number will start a half hour late, like we did today, if we get started on time. It just depends on how long it takes for us to watch it. Mm-hmm. Let me double check the running time. Just
Michael says, nothing says Tolkien like boobs, blood, incest, and warfare. That's definitely Game of Thrones. 2.5 hours, so it's an epic.
Is that the iStation Zebra?
I think so, yeah. That's what Ivan says.
Holy
yeah, no, it's...
cow. 2 hours and 28 minutes. So, yeah, the show will be about 2.5 hours later.
Right on.
I'm not sure how workable that is for Rick, because it's a
lot later. It's 11
like
p.m.
5
there now.
hours later than we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want him to have to stay up super late.
5 hours later than my time, so 6 hours later than your time.
Yes. Yeah, Greenwich Mean Time. So, I will leave plenty of notes and links for next week's I Am Not a Number, and we will do Cosme again for iStation Zebra, and it even has an intermission. I didn't know that. Well, if it has one, maybe we'll leave it in. So we can all refresh our drinks. And
2001 had an intermission. Yeah. And I can go make some popcorn. No, I've been looking forward to seeing this one because it's one of my stepdad's favorite movies.
It's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Ivan Ivanovich says, nothing says Tolkien like representation for races he never wrote about and sexual activities he never mentions. Well, you didn't read the poetry clearly, or the songs enough, Yvonne.
Well, the biggest complaint I've heard is that the dwarf princess doesn't even have a beard.
Yeah, she
Where's
has
her
no
beard?
And something that I saw somebody bring up actually that makes a lot of sense is there are dark-skinned races that are mentioned in Mordor, and there are plenty of stories that could be told in the Second Age, in locations where those people live. And of course, there was this Tempest in a Teapot about the orcs and the Uruk-hai being dark-skinned, and they were the bad guys. Which doesn't have any. That's
a real reach.
Yeah, it is. It's absolute garbage.
Yeah, no. They represent the corruption, right? The corruption of the individuals.
Yeah, because they live close to Mount Doom.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also, I mean, if you look at the map, there are whole, communities all over the place that don't get any attention in either The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. And it could, if they really wanted representation, they could go to those areas and tell stories there. The thing is, there's genealogies and, continents and locations. But basically, the Second Age is all based on the appendices of the Silmarillion. And there are no plot points or story or anything. So
it's all
they're
lore.
going to have to make it all up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's really very little in the way of meat in that sandwich, if you will.
Oh man, YouTube is not liking Ivan's comments. He keeps withholding them. He's not even using any bad words. Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'd never thought about that.
Neither did Amazon. Yep. Oh yeah, Just Some Guy is great for talking about Lord of the Rings.
I've never heard of Just Some Guy.
Oh yeah, no, he's pretty cool. He does some pretty in-depth analysis. He's a major Lord of the Rings fan.
I'll have to subscribe to his channel.
Gary's had him on before. Here, I'll find the link for you.
Cool.
I was just watching him yesterday, actually.
The Blu-ray does have what? Because I'm going to be streaming from the Blu-ray, or rather the MP4 file I ripped from the Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. Which is totally legal.
Yep. It's a private party.
Ivan says, my guess is YouTube doesn't like it when I use the term SJW. Well, I've noticed before, it doesn't like it when you follow the word white with the word guys. YouTube really doesn't like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I've seen, it was like one time, I was talking about a TV show, probably maybe a year ago, and I made a similar comment, and it got immediately deleted, meaning by like a robo-mod.
Right.
Oh yeah,
That is so
I was
strange.
talking about WandaVision because the guy in charge was clearly the villain, and yeah, nope, I took it right out. Blu-ray has the intermission. Yeah, I remember 2001 had an intermission in it, and it's pretty old school.
Is Just Some Guy the guy that has the superhero-looking cartoon?
Yeah, his it's part of his branding that he looks kind of like an anime character with a mask on his head.
Yeah. The Rings of Power, Tolkien in name only. Like I have, I don't have enough stuff to watch.
Yeah.
I have to move out of here.
Well, I have a feeling he's gonna do pretty well leading up to and during the Amazon release of the series because he's known to be a major Lord of the Rings fan, and he's a black guy, so I will be paying close attention to what he has to say.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it. I may have to grit my teeth and bear it, but I am going to watch it. I just I don't know that I'm gonna keep watching it.
Well, I just bought last summer the entire series, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
I think I bought the Silmarillion. I have to double check, but
The
I wanna
books?
I've never read them all before, right? I have seen the Jackson films. Well, not all the Hobbit films, but
I used to read The Hobbit every year, once a year when I was a kid.
nice. Yeah, no, I didn't read it as a kid. I would like to have. There's a lot of things I would have liked to have done, but I can just do them now. Anything you haven't done is just an opportunity to do it for the first time. But I want to
Yeah.
read it all before the series comes out so I can really properly, analyze it. It's something I like to do.
Well, start with The Hobbit, then Lord of the Rings, then The Silmarillion, and then Farmer Giles of Ham.
Farmer Giles. Okay.
Which is a short story. It's in a book that has 2 short stories in it. Farmer Giles or Farmer Giles of Ham is one, and I forget the name of the other.
Here, I'm going to put Ivan's link in here because Ivan says I may have to watch that damn series so I can make vids roasting it.
Yep. I guess about Just Some Guy, Michael Beacom says he's a comic writer himself and comments on comics and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Watching SJWs mix it up with Just Some Guy is rather like watching guardsmen crossing swords with Cyrano de Bergerac, and with similar results.
I would agree with that.
So please subscribe to Ivan Ivanovich's channel. And did you say that you'd ordered the books or you have them?
No, I have them. I ordered a bunch of books last summer. I've got Kai's book, Space Crime Domino, and Mr. CCDV's book. I bought that too. So all these books I bought, I haven't read them yet. Remember, I was still working 7 days a week at the time, and I was still taking care of my father while he was in the hospital. So now I have more time to actually sit down and read.
That reminds me, I need to get my latest short story off to the publisher.
Yeah.
At some point, I'll probably release a book of short stories via Amazon, but I mean, they're all novellas anyway. I can't keep myself below 10,000 words for some reason. But he's been bugging me about it, so I will include the link once that gets done.
Yeah, keep us posted.
Yeah. So anybody that's interested in reading my stuff can do so. When I watch
there's a
Klobby
bot.
and
Smash it.
Yeah. When I watch Klobby and Raquel, she always talks about her science fiction. I got an error message again. I don't know why it does that.
Oh, I already whacked the bot.
Oh, okay. But she always talks about her science fiction on Amazon, and I figure I might as well put mine on.
Yeah.
I think
it's never been easier.
People prefer having something that they can buy to support an author rather than maybe just, send in a PayPal tip to a YouTuber or something like that. They get something in exchange. So I should do that sooner rather than later.
I can't seem to find Raquel's page from his search, but I think I have the link in here. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Yep, okay. I got it. Raquel Briggs.
Yes, leaving reviews is the important part. Wow. Can you tiny or CC that?
I can put it right here in the private chat for you.
Okay. Or bit.ly, whichever.
Yeah, maybe I'll have Jill show me how to do that.
I'll take care of it. Okay. So you can check out Raquel Briggs' work there. And it's the same link. It's just doesn't have all that clutter. And just FYI, Darius, you can go to bit.ly and then just copy and paste a link and then copy the shortened link. That's
okay.
It's very easy.
I just went to her Twitter page and I noticed that she has a short link already by way of Amazon. It's like amzn.to.
Just like the one I have on screen?
Yep.
It's not the exact same.
No, not quite. But it has the same structure.
But bit.ly creates a new link every time it's used. So she did it first. I did it second. So this will be different from hers, but it's still easier to remember than that one.
It's more manageable.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Well, unless you have anything further, I think we should go ahead and wrap up. I do want to thank everybody that was on Cosme for the watch party. And remember that we will do so again next week with Ice Station Zebra. And until then, it's Cardinal Sin out. We'll be seeing you.
Be seeing you.